Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm very pleased to announce at this moment that we have reached a tentative agreement with MFT teachers and educational support professionals. So very excited to be able to announce that, and want to acknowledge that throughout this process it has been very challenging, very difficult, but at the end of the day we were all able to come together and tentatively agree upon what I believe is a fair contract for both our teachers and our educational support professionals. I do want to speak to our students and just say that we're really looking forward to welcoming you back into our schools with our teachers, our support staff, our administrators, and everyone who cares so much and deeply about you. And so just know that we have always tried to remain focused on our students throughout this whole process. And at the end of the day, again, us coming together is going to be what makes the difference for our kids. So looking forward to having our students join us on Monday, and we can get back to school and learning and the care and love that they need in the classroom.
Thank you, Superintendent. I am so happy to be here with you today as we share this news about a tentative agreement with our teachers and our educational support professionals. I want to start by acknowledging and thanking our students, the reason we are all here. I know for many of our students, I know for many of you, the past few weeks have been difficult and long. You've missed your teachers, you've missed your school, you've missed your friends. I'm so excited for you that you're able to return to school on Monday. I know your teachers are going to be incredibly thrilled to see you. I want to thank our families and community for your support and encouragement, for your persistence, and for your patience, for your ideas and advocacy. I know that you support our students and our staff, and I want to thank you for that. We look forward to welcoming teachers and staff back on Monday, back to our classrooms. Thank you for your unmatched commitment to our students, to our district. You are MPS. I also want to thank our MPS staff who maintain operations during the strike, providing food and child care for our workers and for our families, supporting the negotiations process. I'd like to thank my school board colleagues for their public service. Sometimes it can be very difficult work, but you are valued, you are needed, and you are appreciated. Finally, thanks to Superintendent Graff and to the negotiators on both teams for their 21 days of continuous work in making this tentative agreement possible. You've more than enough earned this weekend to spend time with your family and with your friends. The last few weeks have affirmed what many of us already knew, that Minneapolis is a place of passion and compassion, a place where people will do anything for our children. I know Minneapolis will continue to be a heartbeat of our state, and together, students, families, labor, and management, we will continue to lead the fight for public education. Though we will and must face challenge, it is essential that we do it together. And if we're together, there isn't anything that we can't do. I'm hopeful, I'm excited, and I'm ready. Today is a new day for our kids, for our schools, and for our district. Thank you.
All right, so we are going to take questions. Please raise your hand if you have one.
Paul Bloom, Fox 9 News. I'm just curious about the timing. I think the announcement came down about 4 a.m. And you look, no disrespect, you look a little tired here. Can you take us through what was that breakthrough moment? What happened? Who moved? Kind of give us some details.
Yeah, you know, it's been a long, as Chair Ellison mentioned, 21 days straight of consecutive days of negotiations here. And we started yesterday and had a lot of progress and momentum working with the MFT Teachers Union, and stopped for a little bit, switched gears, worked with the ESP group, and then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I think things just kind of came to an end, and I think we had a tentative agreement with the teachers around 3:30, and then shortly thereafter with ESPs around 3:40. So it's all kind of a blur, you know. I mean, the days have run together into weeks and months and weekends, and I'm just really grateful that we were able to come together at the end of the day, and so grateful that we're able to get our kids back in school. I know this has been a huge challenge for our students, huge challenge for our families, for staff as well. You know, you go into this profession because you care about kids and you want to see them reach their full potential and be a part of the successes. And something like this is very challenging, and it's something that only happens once in 50 years. So just grateful that we were able to come together, and looking forward to having a wonderful celebration of gathering on Monday and doing better.
And are we getting a fact sheet, an update, like just some of the bullet points?
The tentative agreement is one that will work through the process with the union. You know, they still have to have ratification by their members, and we do have a meeting here in just a little bit to go through the return to work process. So those details have to be worked out, and once we're able to do that, we'll certainly disseminate that information.
Can you tell us more about the details about, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, NPR News. Can you tell us more? I know students, families are really curious about missed school and what it might look like to make that up. Can you talk through some details about what you're looking at and what families might expect in terms of when they'll know more about that?
So at about 10 o'clock, we're going to get together with members of the ESP bargaining team as well as the MFT bargaining team and go through just the different scenarios. We know we have a certain number of days that we have to complete for a school year. We also have a certain number of hours, and so those are some of the factors we have to work through. What will the extension of those days look like in the school year? Will we have to add on minutes? Are there days that we can use that are non-student contact days that can be substituted for learning days? So all of those details will have to be worked out, and we know that it's going to affect other union groups as well, our transportation, culinary wellness. So all of those things will be worked out hopefully in the next couple of hours, and we'll be able to put some information out to families.
Today.
That's the hope, yes.
Ralph Crowder, independent black journalist. There are only 237 black tenured teachers in this whole district. Are there, in your agreement with the union, what specific protections or changes in the seniority program or anything that is going to, after this strike, preserve the very small number of black teachers that are in the district, but what specific policies or changes in this agreement are either in your side of the negotiations or in the teachers union side of the negotiation that is going to enhance and improve the representation of specifically black teachers? Because I will just say one thing. I'm the only black journalist in this whole room, and black children are failing, and I was publicly embarrassed before this conference started. So that voice and that advocacy is very important. And for there to only be 237 tenured black teachers in this district is a shame. So what is the district going to do about that?
So thank you for your question. Minneapolis Public Schools, the board, the administration has had very much a focus and a priority to create a contract that allows us to recruit and retain and prioritize our educators of color. And so the details of that contract settlement will be coming out here in the next couple of hours and days, and you'll see that we remained focused on that commitment. That was a priority. That was one of the most significant priorities that we talked about all through the negotiation process, and our negotiations team did a wonderful job of maintaining that focus, and certainly we need our students to feel the representation in the educators, and that commitment remains. So looking forward to sharing those details in the coming hours and days.
Quick follow-up. Do you know how many tenured white teachers there are in the district?
I do not have that information.
You don't have that information?
No. We can certainly get it, though.
You can follow up with me and I can get you that information. Any other questions?
John Lordson from WCCO. What were you hearing from families specifically? We talked a lot of them about trying to find things for their kids to do during this time away from school. Some were doing homework, taking initiative over at Shiloh Temple and other places. What were you hearing? What were the messages you were getting from parents specifically and families?
Well, I guess there were two main things I heard. Number one was families wanted their children in school. You know, that was the number one priority. They definitely had experienced enough disruption with COVID, the pandemic, the inconsistency with attendance due to illnesses and whatnot. So Priority number one was to get our students back in school. The other thing I heard is they had a great deal of respect and value for the educators, the people that care for their children every single day throughout the school year. And we share those values. We did our best as the district to demonstrate those values in the contract that we have tentatively agreed to. And so those were the two big things that I continued to hear from families. They wanted to have their children back in school in the setting that they enjoyed and were cared for, and then they also wanted to share their appreciation for all the educators and the work that they've been doing during the pandemic in the last 2 years, as well as the work they do every day in the profession. One of the most invaluable professions in our society, and unfortunately one of the most challenging professions in our society.
Any other questions?
Superintendent, where does the district go from here, just in terms of this was bruising. I mean, I haven't been here much, I've covered it kind of from afar, but it just seems the district has gotten beaten up reputationally. We talk about what families have done coming out of the pandemic. You lost, a school board member, an HR director, internal text messages were released. It seems like you guys really took a beating. And how do you tell these communities, these families, that you're still a strong place to send their kids for school going forward? They have choices.
Well, this should definitely serve as a signal for our society that public education is a foundation of what's needed. And when times are challenging, people need to come together. And that's what we're committed to doing. The solutions that we have in front of us are not going to be solved by one individual, by one side. It's about coming together and being focused on what we know is right for our students, for our community, and moving forward. So this should definitely serve as a signal that we have needs in public education, and a lot of those needs are around funding. The other part of the needs are just people coming together and doing the work.
Go ahead, I'll wait after you.
I know that a big focus obviously has been, to that point, funding and the limited resources that the district has. Can you talk any more about how you were able to meet teacher demands, staying within your parameters, where that money is coming from, what this agreement will mean for the district?
Well, we certainly will have to take a look at our budget. We were just in the process of tying out our budget for the upcoming school year, and the board did an outstanding job of taking into consideration the needs that were in front of us today, as well as the long-term needs that we have as a district to remain viable and fiscally sound. But that being said, the contracts that we have put forward are going to require us to take a look at our budgets and make some adjustments going forward. So we know we'll have to make those things happen in the next couple of weeks and months.
The reading proficiency rate for black students in this district is, we don't need to quote them or anything like that. Obviously, there's a big challenge, and that's probably one of the biggest issues of concern. So in this agreement, are there any pathways in the ESP part of it? Because a lot of the conversations were around ESPs being majority black staff. Is there any pathways that you can highlight for ESPs to transition into teaching in the classroom as tenured teachers?
I can't get into the specifics of the contract at this time, but I will tell you that we do have a number of opportunities for our educators to build on their training and their knowledge, specifically around special education. We have a pathway program right now that we've been operating for a couple of years. And what you will see in the contract is, again, a focus on professional development, collaboration, really providing that time for our educators to be able to learn on the job, as well as collaborate with their colleagues. They bring so much knowledge and expertise in their own experiences outside of being a classroom teacher, and just the interaction that they have with students, the strong connections. And so we attempted to acknowledge that and value that in the contracts that we settled here.
All right. I think that's going to be it for today. They have another meeting to get ready for, but I appreciate you all coming out here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.